I want to start with the thing nobody in those glossy clinics will say out loud. Most of what you've been told about testosterone after 50 is either a sales pitch or a scare story, and the truth sits in a quieter place that's actually good news for you. Stay with me, because near the end of this, I'm going to share the single biggest lever, the one most men over 50 completely ignore, and it has nothing to do with a needle or a prescription. Here's the honest picture. Yes, testosterone tends to decline as men age. On average, it drops somewhere around 1% a year after your 30s. But that average hides the real story. Because when researchers look closely at men who decline fast versus men who barely decline at all, the difference usually isn't their birthday. It's how they live. It's their body composition, their sleep, their stress, their muscle, their movement. In other words, a big slice of what most men shrug off as just getting old is actually a set of signals you can influence. Not all of it, but far more than you've been led to believe. And I need you to understand why this matters, because testosterone isn't just about what happens in the bedroom, even though that's what gets the headlines. This hormone is tied to your energy when you wake up. It's linked to your mood, your drive, your motivation to actually go and do things. It supports your ability to hold on to muscle, to keep your bones strong, to manage body fat, to think clearly. So when a man tells me he feels flat, foggy, soft around the middle, short-tempered, just dimmer than he used to be, we're often talking about more than one number on a lab sheet. We're talking about his whole vitality. So let's clear away the myths, because they're costing men real years of good living. Myth number one, that low testosterone is simply inevitable, and there's nothing to do but accept it or inject it. That's lazy thinking. The body is a feedback system. It responds to the demands you place on it and the materials you give it. Myth number two, the opposite extreme. That if you just optimize one magic thing, you'll feel 25 again. Also false, and usually the setup for somebody selling you something. Real change comes from stacking several honest levers that each move the needle a little, and together move it a lot. And myth number three, the sneaky one, that the number on the blood test is the whole truth. It isn't. There's a thing called sex hormone binding globulin. Think of it as a sponge in your bloodstream that soaks up testosterone and holds it where your body can't really use it. Two men can have the same total testosterone on paper, but if one of them has a lot more of that binding protein, he has far less free, usable testosterone actually doing its job. And what raises that sponge? Aging, yes, but also high stress, poor blood sugar control, certain medications, and being under-muscled and over-fat. Notice how many of those you can actually work on. So now let's talk about the levers that genuinely matter. I'm going to give them to you in order of impact, and I want you to be honest with yourself about which ones you've been neglecting. The first lever is muscle, and specifically resistance training. Lifting things. I don't care if it's dumbbells, machines, resistance bands, or your own body weight to start. When you challenge your muscles with progressive resistance, meaning you gradually ask them to do a little more over time, you send a powerful signal through your whole hormonal system. Muscle tissue is metabolically active. It helps manage blood sugar. It helps with insulin sensitivity. And that environment is exactly the kind that supports healthy testosterone. Here's the part most men over 50 get wrong. They think they should go lighter and gentler with age. The opposite is usually true. You need to keep some real intensity, safe, controlled, but real 2 or 3 times a week, hitting the big movements that involve your legs, your back, your chest. Legs especially. A man who skips training his lower body is leaving a huge amount of hormonal benefit on the table. You don't need 2 hours. You need 30 to 40 focused minutes, a few times a week, with a weight that actually feels like work by the last few reps. The second lever is sleep, and this is the one men love to brag about ignoring. I only need 5 hours. No, you don't. A large portion of your testosterone production happens while you sleep, particularly in your deeper and your REM stages. Cut your sleep short, and studies have shown free testosterone can drop measurably after just 1 week of restricted sleep in healthy young men. And if it hits them that hard, imagine what years of it does to a man over 50. Poor sleep also spikes your stress hormone, cortisol, which works directly against testosterone. So if you do nothing else from this video, protect your sleep like it's a paycheck. A cool, dark room, a consistent bedtime, cutting the late screens and the late alcohol, because alcohol in particular wrecks the deep sleep you need most. This is free. It's just not easy. The third lever is body fat, especially the fat around your midsection. This one's important because it's a vicious cycle, and I want you to see the loop clearly. Excess belly fat contains an enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. So the more of that fat you carry, the more your own body works to lower your usable testosterone, and lower testosterone makes it easier to store more fat. Round and round it goes. The good news hidden in that loop is that when you start to reverse it, when you drop even some of that midsection fat through training, and the food choices we'll get to, you're not just losing weight, you're potentially turning down that conversion and letting more of your own natural testosterone stay testosterone. You don't have to get lean like a model. Even a moderate reduction in waist size can shift the whole hormonal environment in your favor. And if you want faster, longer-lasting results, I've put the exact natural support I recommend in the link below this video. The fourth lever is what's on your plate. And I'll keep this practical because nutrition gets overcomplicated on purpose by people selling complicated things. Your body needs raw materials to make hormones. It needs enough protein to build and hold muscle. Most men over 50 eat far too little of it, and protein also keeps you full so the fat loss gets easier. It needs healthy fats, because cholesterol and dietary fat are literally the building blocks your body uses to manufacture testosterone. This is why extreme low-fat dieting can backfire on a man. Eggs, olive oil, fatty fish, nuts, these aren't the enemy. And it needs you to get a handle on refined carbs and sugar, because chronically high blood sugar and the insulin resistance that follows are strongly linked to lower testosterone. You don't need a perfect diet, you need a mostly real food diet with enough protein, enough good fat, and a lot less of the sugary processed stuff that spikes you all day long. The fifth lever is your micronutrients, the quiet supporting cast. There are specific vitamins and minerals your body uses in the testosterone making process, and many men over 50 are quietly running low on them. Two of the most studied in this area are zinc and magnesium, both of which are linked to healthy testosterone, and both of which a lot of men simply don't get enough of through food. Vitamin D is another big one. It behaves more like a hormone than a vitamin in the body, and low levels are associated with lower testosterone in a lot of the research. These aren't magic, and more is not better. But correcting a genuine shortfall can help your body do what it's already trying to do. Now, the lever I promised you at the start, the one most men over 50 completely ignore. It's not a food or an exercise. It's your stress and your nervous system. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated, and cortisol and testosterone sit on a seesaw. When one stays high for too long, it suppresses the other. I've watched men do everything else right and stay stuck because they're running on adrenaline and worry from the moment they wake up. Managing this isn't soft or optional. It might be the most underrated hormonal lever you have, and it can be simple. Daily walks, ideally outdoors in real daylight, which also helps your sleep rhythm. A few minutes of slow breathing when you feel yourself winding up. Real downtime that isn't just collapsing in front of a screen. Connection with people you actually like. These calm the system that's been quietly working against you, and they cost nothing. So let's pull it together, because this is where it becomes real instead of just interesting. After 50, some decline is natural. But how steep that decline is and how you feel inside it is far more in your hands than anyone profiting from your worry wants you to know. Lift heavy enough to matter 2 or 3 times a week. Guard your sleep like it's sacred. Trim that midsection. Eat enough protein and enough real fat. Cut the sugar. Cover your key micronutrients. And get your stress off the gas pedal. Stack those, give it a few honest months, and most men feel a difference they can actually point to. More energy, a clearer head, a stronger body, and that quiet sense of drive coming back. You don't have to do all of it perfectly, and you don't have to do it tomorrow. Pick the one lever you've been ignoring the most and start there this week. Then add the next. That's how real, lasting change actually happens. Not in a single dramatic leap, but in a stack of honest habits that compound. And if you're ready to support all of this naturally and feel the difference faster, the exact support I personally recommend is waiting for you in the link below this video. Go and take a look while it's fresh in your mind. You've got far more control over your vitality than you've been told, and it is absolutely not too late to take it back. Start this week, be consistent, and give your body the chance to do what it's built to do. Take care of yourself, You're worth the effort. And remember, this is general educational information to help you ask better questions, not medical advice, so always talk with a qualified healthcare professional about your own health before making changes.